Hi, welcome to Chard Review. The movie begins with our main character, Dilara Basilan, strolling along a quiet estate in Istanbul, but all of a sudden a flash mob erupts, transforming the surroundings into a lively music video. It's revealed that Dilara is a big movie star who's won various prestigious awards, and later she returns to her apartment where Dilara shares an intimate moment with her boyfriend and co-worker Serkan. The next morning Dilara starts reviewing the scripts for her next projects. Recently, it appears that her demand is decreased, and she is now mostly getting advertisements. She hates it, but she's accepted one of the commercials because the pay is good. The advertisement is for the shampoo brand Belinda, and for this role she must portray a woman named Hamdan, who's an ideal wife and mother who cares for her family and uses shampoo after returning home from work. However, being an independent lady who despises traditional life, Dilara finds the script nearly repulsive. Therefore, she calls her agency to terminate the advertisement agreement and pay off the contract money. However, the agent tells her that this is not possible because a huge sum of money is involved. That evening, while hanging out with her friends at her bar, her friends don't miss the opportunity to tease her for her advertisement. Dilara is enraged, particularly by a woman named Arzu. It turns out that Dilara and Arzu are professional rivals, and she even suspects Arzu of sleeping with her boyfriend Serkan. Eventually, Dilara goes to the shooting location for the Belinda shampoo commercial. She's introduced to the male actor who will play her husband. However, the man is really sensitive and somewhat creepy. He's not only smitten by Dilara's attractiveness, but he also goes out of his way to appear desperate in front of her. Dilara feels uncomfortable in his company, but she maintains her cool and acts professionally. Next, while filming a scene where Dilara has to apply the shampoo, she struggles to take on the persona of Handan. She feels uncomfortable with creepy people observing her, so she orders the ones who aren't in the scene to leave. Meanwhile, the director instructs her that she should forget Dilara for a moment and act as Handan in this role. After this, Dilara finally gets into her character and closes her eyes to thoroughly wash her hair while following the director's orders. But moments later, Dilara opens her eyes to find herself in a strange location, not at the set of the advertisement, but in someone else's home. When she gets out of the shower, she notices two kids running around while their father sits on the couch playing a video game. In a state of confusion, Dilara looks around and questions everything, wondering whether this is all some elaborate. Frank just then Nick Hardy, who's their husband from the commercial, begins referring to her as hand-in and begins conversing with her as if they've been married for years. She even notices that the kids are also actors from the commercial. Now Dilara is confused about what's happening to her, so she accuses Nikati of messing with her life. However, Nikita claims that he's her spouse and that these are their children, but as soon as she hears this, Dilara panics and leaves the house to look for her friends. Soon after, Dilara arrives at Circus's incidents, but he doesn't recognize her, and to make matters worse, she discovers that Serkan is now in her relationship with her rival, Arzu. At this point, Serkan regards her as an invader who's broken into his house. Frustrated by this, Dilara goes to see her friends at a bar where they frequently hang out, but no one seems to recognize her. After that, Dilara goes to her own apartment to see what the F is going on, but finds that someone else is living there. In the end, Delaware realizes that she's somehow stuck in the life of Handhead, the character she's portraying in the shampoo commercial. Now, having nowhere to go, Dilara returns to her house in this world, and naturally, her husband is confused about why she's so hostile. Later, when Nikki wants to sleep with her, she sends him to the couch and sleeps alone in bed, assuming that everything will be normal. The next day, however, Dilara awakens in the same house and gets annoyed that she's still stuck in this reality. Afterward, Nick Caddy makes breakfast for the family, and just then Dilara receives a call informing her that she's late for work. She then arrives at her place of work, which turns out to be a bank. Once inside, she meets the bank manager O'Keefe, who inquires as to why she's late. However, Dilara lashes out and begins screaming that she's not Handin but a famous actress named Dilara. But somehow Akif appears to believe her and says that he wants to take her somewhere, and as soon as they reach the outskirts of town, Akif takes off his clothes and asks her to please him. Delaware is disgusted by this and demands he put on his clothes, but just then Akif reveals that they've been having an affair for a long time and that he's even found a location where they can run away. Together that evening, Dola's, in-laws, and relatives show up to attend a dinner. They're furious because she can't even cook a nice meal, but Nakati tries to justify her errors by claiming that she's tired. Just then, Akif arrives at the house, and Dollar discovers that he's the husband of Nakata's sister. Finding herself in such a complicated situation, Dilara has a mental breakdown, so she runs from there and locks herself in the bathroom, sensing something's wrong. Her family members also chase after her and begin banging on the bathroom door in a moment of panic. Dilara puts on the Belinda shampoo expecting to be transported back to reality. However, nothing happens and Akati and Akif end up smashing the bathroom door. The next day, Dilara is taken to a psychiatric clinic where she continues to insist that she's not hand-in. She tries to explain that she's an actress to a group of doctors and nurses by reenacting a scene from her most renowned work, but the entire room is unconvinced by her half-hearted effort and believes she's insane. And when they don't believe her, Dilara becomes a little aggressive, due to which she is confined for treatment. The doctors place her in a room where she has to look out the window all day and endure the agony of living as someone else. One day, while sitting next to the other patients, an old woman begins speaking with Dilara. The woman informs her that if she wants to leave this place, she must play her part and begin pretending. This has an immediate impact on Dilara, who feels liberated and devises a plan. She admits to the doctor she was insane before, but now, because of their treatment, she understands reality, and after she comes home, the lower begins to adjust to her new life as a wife and mother. A few days later, her husband tries to sleep with her again, but Delaware does everything she can to refuse him. However, Nakati eventually takes her and pulls her to bed, but their son enters and interrupts the moment. Dilara then takes the boy with her and sleeps with them, disrupting the Cardi's intentions. The next day, Dilara goes to meet her former boyfriend, Sir Ken. The two then go out to lunch and Dilara tries to explain that they used to date in another reality. Sir Ken, on the other hand, believes that she's crazy and assumed, "You must be one of his fans." She informs them that she's an actress who wishes to restart her career and achieve the success she once had. Sirkin then tries to take advantage of her and takes her to his place where they get intimate, and after they're done, Dolores seeks a favor from them, so Sirkin agrees to arrange an audition for her. In the next scene, Dilara arrives at the theater for an audition, which is arranged by Sirkin. This entire group has been Dilora's friends in her earlier life, but they no longer recognize her. She then delivers an outstanding performance and, as a result, she's hired for the role. However, Dilara hides this news from her family and relies on her sister-in-law to accompany her to the auditions. One evening, while returning from a family picnic, Delaware is cornered by her brother-in-law and supposed lover Akif. He demands money from her that they previously laundered together. Dilara, on the other hand, has no idea what he's talking about and claims she lost her memory in the mental institution. Akif then reveals that the men at the shady company discovered their theft, and for that they tortured him to the point of taking one of his eyes and threatening to murder him if he didn't return their money. He reminds Dilara that she's kept the money in a leather bag and asks that she return it immediately or he'll bring her into the mess as well. But just then, Nick Hardy shows up to see what's going on, and Akif runs away from the scene. Over the next few days, Dilara continues to perform her duties as a housewife while also sneaking into the theater for rehearsals. One evening, on her way home from the theater, she's involved in an accident that causes her car to damage public property. Moments later, she finds that a message was left on her dashboard. The message reminds Dilara that she has one more day before the company members arrive to collect their money or they'll harm her as well. When Dilara reaches home, her husband is concerned about her injuries. Eventually, she tells Nikita that she was in an accident and apologizes for crashing their car. However, Nick Caddy doesn't make a big deal out of it and urges her not to worry about the car. This melts her heart, and it appears that the Lori is now accepted and embraced her new reality. As a result, she allows her husband to sleep with her for the first time, fulfilling her role as a wife. Later, while they're being intimate, her sight is drawn to the location of the money to Laura, then gets the money from a hidden compartment under some furniture in her room and decides to return it to the members of the company. The next morning, Delara writes a goodbye letter to Nakati, thanking him for everything. She then kisses the children goodbye. Just then, her daughter unexpectedly asks Delara if her mother will return, to which Delara responds positively. Later, on her way to the theater, she stopped by a man. Delara believes the man is from her company and offers them money. But the man reveals that he's a comp and brings her to the station. After hours of waiting, the chief officer arrives and Delara learns that the police have called her to investigate the destruction of public property last night, and after charging her some minimum fees, the officer grants her leave. After that, Delara runs to the theater where she's supposed to perform her big role. That evening, when she arrives, Laura discovers that Sir Ken and others have discovered that she's not an actor, but a housewife and mother. Now Delara tries to persuade them that despite her identity, she's a good actress who can perform well, but the crew informs her that she's already been replaced by another actress. Feeling desperate and helpless, Delara asks whether there's a job for back dancers, but she's rejected from that as well. After this, Laura takes the money and climbs onto the roof of a building. She then stands on the ledge and suddenly, it begins to rain. Delara begins executing the exact steps of the dance that she did in real life. She then tosses away all the money that I keep in hand and it's stolen, causing a commotion on the streets, and just went to. Laura is about to walk away from the building. The company members arrive on the scene, however, just when Delara opens her eyes, she returns to her reality where she is applying shampoo to her hair during the Belinda commercial shoot. Delara is more than relieved that her nightmare is now finally over. Furthermore, the director wholeheartedly praises her performance and requests a pack-up, and the movie comes to an end. So what did you think of this movie? Let us know in the comments below, and if you like the video, like it and subscribe for more movie review. See you next time.